What have you done? I don't know who you are now. Maybe I never knew. Maybe none of us did. You did this to yourself, and you did this to us.
There is now nowhere left for you to hide, Larry.
More than 160 women say Larry Nassar sexually abused them. It's one of the worst sexual abuse scandals in the history of sports.
Prosecutors in Michigan have charged a former USA Gymnastics doctor with inappropriately touching gymnasts in his care.
For years, Larry Nassar was standing in the places where young athletes were supposed to feel safe. He was inside training rooms. He was beside competition floors. He was around parents, coaches, and some of the most talented gymnasts in America. To the outside world, he looked professional, calm, and trustworthy. He had the title of a doctor, and in the world of elite sports, that title meant power. When an athlete was injured, tired, or afraid that pain might destroy their dream, Nassar was presented as the person who could help. Parents trusted him because powerful organizations trusted him. Coaches trusted him because he was connected to respected institutions. Young athletes trusted him because adults around them told them he was safe. And that is what makes this case so disturbing. Larry Nassar was not hiding in some dark corner of society. He was hiding in plain sight, protected by reputation, authority, and the belief that a doctor could not possibly be dangerous. But behind the calm voice, behind the medical language, and behind the white coat, there was a secret that would one day expose one of the darkest scandals in sports history. At first, nothing seemed unusual from the outside. Gymnasts were constantly dealing with pain. Their bodies were pushed to extreme limits. Injuries were part of the sport. A doctor being present around young athletes did not look suspicious. In fact, it looked normal. It looked necessary. And that normality became the perfect cover. Nassar understood that his position gave him access. He understood that young athletes might be too confused, too scared, or too inexperienced to question him. He also understood that if anyone did question him, many adults would likely believe the doctor before they believed the child. That is where the horror of the case begins. Some survivors later said they knew something was wrong. Some said they felt uncomfortable. Some said they spoke up. But instead of being protected immediately, many felt ignored, dismissed, or made to feel like they had misunderstood what happened.
You had me so wrapped around your finger, and I still trusted you so much. Even when I was a sophomore in college, and you were the only person I called to help me make the decision to end my gymnastics career due to my injuries.
This case was not only about Larry Nassar's crimes, it was about the system around him. It was about the adults who failed to ask enough questions. It was about institutions that had chances to act sooner. It was about reputation being protected while young athletes were left vulnerable. The most painful part is not only that a predator existed, it is that he was allowed to remain in trusted spaces for so long. For years, the truth stayed buried beneath authority, fear, confusion, and silence. Then slowly, that silence began to crack. One survivor spoke.
It's Sarah Klein's duty to be a good mother, a good attorney, and a good advocate for sexual abuse survivors after her own abuser was publicly taken down.
I was starting to compete, and we had a young volunteer as our athletic trainer named Larry Nassar. I feel empowered in that the tables have turned. You know, I am out here sort of pounding the pavement and using my voice and trying to break through the stigma around sexual abuse.
The story started growing larger with every new voice. These were not just rumors. These were not isolated misunderstandings. These were young women and athletes describing betrayal by a man they had been told to trust.
It's an instance of adults who knew what was happening and placed money and power and reputation before the safety of children.
And once enough voices came forward, the truth became impossible to ignore. The world began to realize that this was not just a sports scandal. It was not just a university scandal. It was not just a medical scandal. It was a national failure. A failure of protection. A failure of listening, a failure of accountability. And at the center of it all was one question that became more haunting with every detail. How did this continue for so long? The answer was uncomfortable. Because Nassar did not survive in darkness. He survived in trust. He survived because people believed the title. He survived because institutions were slow to act. He survived because young athletes were easier to silence than powerful organizations were to challenge.
I testify to let the world know that you are a repulsive liar.
One by one, they shared their stories.
I am Jessica Tomashow, also known as Victim A. I was sexually assaulted by Larry Nassar when I was 9 and 12 years old.
When the case finally became public, the image of Larry Nassar changed forever. The trusted doctor was no longer protected by his title. The stories of survivors began revealing what had been happening behind closed doors. The public reaction was shock, anger, and disbelief. People could not understand how someone connected to such powerful organizations could have been accused by so many people before real accountability came. Then came the investigation. Then came the charges.
So I'm Billy O'Brien. I'm a lieutenant back in our detective bureau. Obviously, it's been told to you that I was going to contact you.
Someone was. I didn't know who or what, but I thank goodness because I couldn't imagine that I was waiting. You know, it's like
right.
Somebody call.
Okay.
You know
so I've asked you to come in here voluntarily because this is under investigation.
Right.
So obviously, I need to find out from you,
Right.
from your perception, your side of things, what happened.
Then came the courtroom. And that courtroom became the place where silence ended. One by one, survivors stood up and spoke. The room was heavy. Every statement carried years of pain, betrayal, and courage. Some survivors spoke through tears. Some spoke with anger. Some spoke with calm, controlled strength. But every voice carried the same message. They were no longer going to be silent.
And while we all are moving mountains, you, Larry, will have no choice but to sit in prison and wait to die. I will be out in the real world, thriving, empowering, and standing by others, while you rot in a prison cell the rest of your life.
I feel guilty. Not because I did anything wrong, but because I was not able to come forward sooner and perhaps protect other young girls from Dr. Nassar.
What kind of a person has the audacity to sexually assault a child in front of their mother?
For years, Nassar had been protected by his position, but in that courtroom, the power shifted. He had to sit there and listen as the people he harmed took back control of the story.
If you have some words that you would like to say, I would like to give you the opportunity to say them.
I would ask you to, as part of this sentencing, to grant me 5 minutes in a locked room with this demon.
I have
Would
a feeling.
you do that?
That is not how
Yes or
our. No, sir, I can't.
Would you give me 1 minute?
You know that I can't do that. That's not how our legal system.
Well, I'm gonna have to get
Stay down. Press Morgan. Get over there, Matthew. Hurry up.
I want that stuff.
Behind your back.
Give me 1 minute with that. What if this happened to you guys?
Not behave like that. No one can behave like this. I want to make sure it's crystal clear.
You haven't lived through it, lady.
You cannot behave like this.
That moment became one of the most powerful scenes in modern true crime history. Because this was not just about a criminal being sentenced. It was about survivors forcing the world to hear them. It was about the truth finally standing in a room where it could not be ignored. For years, many of them had been made to feel powerless. But in court, their voices became stronger than the system that failed them. Larry Nassar was sentenced to spend the rest of his life behind bars. But even that punishment could not erase what happened. A prison sentence can punish the guilty, but it cannot return lost years. It cannot erase trauma. It cannot undo ignored warnings. It cannot repair every broken piece of trust. For the survivors, justice was important, but it arrived after years of pain that should never have happened. And after Nassar was sentenced, the case did not simply end. The scandal spread outward. USA Gymnastics faced intense criticism. Michigan State University faced outrage. Law enforcement agencies were questioned. People wanted to know who knew what, when they knew it, and why more was not done. The case became a symbol of institutional failure. It showed what happens when organizations care more about their image than the people inside their care. That is why the Larry Nassar case still feels so disturbing. Because the scariest part is not that he looked evil. He did not. He looked trusted. He looked qualified. He looked like someone who belonged in the room. And that is exactly why he was so dangerous.